What if I told you the most dominant driver of the last few years in Formula One might not even be on the grid in a few years? Sounds crazy, right? Max Verstappen, the face of modern F1 and a multiple-time world champion, possibly leaving Formula One. That's the rumor shaking the entire sport right now. But here's the thing, not everything you're hearing is true. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's real, what's exaggerated, and what could actually happen next. Why are people saying Max Verstappen is leaving F1? So let's start with the big question: why is everyone suddenly talking about Max Verstappen leaving F1? It didn't come out of nowhere. Recent interviews, internal Red Bull tension, and upcoming F1 regulation changes have all fueled speculation. Fans heard small comments from Verstappen himself, hints about burnout, dissatisfaction, and even a desire to explore other racing series. Now combine that with the internet and boom. Verstappen quitting Formula One becomes a trending topic overnight. But here's where things get interesting. Rumors in F1 don't just appear. They usually come from something real, just blown way out of proportion. Verstappen's own words, the real trigger. Now this next part might surprise you. Max Verstappen has never actually said, "I'm leaving F1." What he has said is that he doesn't want to race forever. He's mentioned multiple times that long race calendars, sometimes over 24 races a season, are exhausting. He's talked about wanting more balance in life. And honestly, that's relatable. Even at the top of his game, Verstappen has hinted that he might not stick around as long as legends like Lewis Hamilton or Fernando Alonso. But here's the key detail most people miss. Thinking about your long-term future is not the same as planning to leave right now. The Red Bull situation, is there drama? Let's talk about the Red Bull F1 situation, because this is where things get serious. There's been internal tension within the Red Bull team, management changes, leadership disagreements, and behind-the-scenes politics. And in Formula One, team stability matters a lot. Drivers don't just race cars, they rely on trust, communication, and long-term vision with their team. If that starts to crack, even slightly, it can create uncertainty. Now imagine you're Verstappen. You've just come off years of winning races and dominating championships. But suddenly, your team feels unstable. Would you at least consider your options? Exactly. But here's the important part. There's no confirmed fallout strong enough to push him out immediately. Verstappen's contract, the reality check. Now let's bring some facts into this. Max Verstappen has a contract with Red Bull that runs until 2028. That's huge. In Formula One, contracts aren't just casual agreements. They involve millions, sometimes hundreds of millions, and complex clauses. So when people ask, is Verstappen leaving Red Bull? The real answer is not easily. Yes, there could be exit clauses. Yes, situations can change. But walking away from a contract like that isn't something that happens overnight. And this is where most fans get it wrong. Rumors move fast. Contracts don't. The 2026 rule changes, a game changer? But here's where things get really interesting. Formula One is heading into a massive regulation change in 2026. New engines, new technology, a potential shift in team performance. And this is critical. Whenever big regulation changes happen, the competitive order can completely flip. Think about it like this. The fastest team today might not be the fastest tomorrow. Now imagine Verstappen looking ahead and thinking, what if Red Bull can't return to that same level of dominance? That's when questions about his future become much more serious. Because for a driver like Verstappen, winning isn't just a goal, it's the standard. Could Verstappen join another team? So let's explore the big what if. If Max Verstappen were to leave Red Bull, where would he go? This is where the F1 driver market gets exciting. Teams like Mercedes, Ferrari, or even emerging contenders could become options. Now picture this scenario. Verstappen in a different car. Different engineers. Different strategy. It would completely reshape Formula One. But here's the reality check. Top teams already have long-term plans. Drivers signed. Development paths locked in. So while it's possible, it's not as simple as swapping seats. Still, never say never in phone. Is Verstappen tired of Formula One? Now this next angle is something fans don't talk about enough. Mental fatigue. Being at the top sounds amazing, but it comes with pressure, media attention, constant travel, and zero room for mistakes. Verstappen has hinted that he enjoys racing, but not always everything around it. And this is important. Because when drivers start to lose enjoyment even slightly, it can impact long-term decisions. We've seen it before. Drivers stepping away early, not because they can't win, but because they don't want the lifestyle anymore. So when people ask, is Verstappen quitting Formula One? It's less about performance and more about personal choice. Other racing series, a real possibility? Now here's something that might actually happen one day. Max Verstappen has openly shown interest in other forms of racing. Endurance racing. Sim racing. Events like Le Mans. And here's the thing. These formats offer something Formula One doesn't: flexibility. Fewer races. Different challenges. More freedom. So if Verstappen ever decides to step away from phone, it doesn't mean he's done racing. It just means he's choosing a different path. And honestly, that might be the most realistic long-term scenario. What the latest Max Verstappen news really says. So let's cut through all the noise. The latest Max Verstappen news doesn't confirm that he's leaving phone. What it shows is this. He's thinking ahead. He's aware of changes. And he's not afraid to speak honestly. But here's the key takeaway. There is no official plan for him to leave anytime soon. The rumors? Mostly speculation. The reality? Much more stable. The truth, is Max Verstappen really leaving F1? So let's answer the question directly. Is Max Verstappen leaving F1? Right now, no. There's no confirmed exit. No official announcement. No immediate move. But there are factors that could influence his future. Team dynamics. Regulation changes. Personal priorities. And in Formula One, things can change fast. So while he's not leaving today, the conversation about his future is very real. Max Verstappen isn't walking away from F1, at least not yet, but the cracks that started these rumors? They're real, and they could shape what happens next. And if you want to understand where Formula One is heading next, you'll want to watch the next video where we break down the 2026 rule changes and how they could completely flip the grid. If you enjoyed this, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because in phone, the next big twist is always just one race away.